Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Heading to Omaha in 15 minutes. We'll find Will Hellmers, the voice of UCLA, in Hour 2. David DeLucci from Omaha in Hour 3. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Now fires. The 0-1, a bouncer towards second base. Milam on the short hop. Throws to first in time. Tigers win. Tigers win. A statement victory for LSU in their first game of the 2025 College World Series.
Chris Blair on the call. LSU Sports Radio Network. LSU beats Arkansas for the third time this year, 4-1. The Tigers take it over the Hogs and move into the winner's bracket, where tonight, 6 o'clock Central, it'll be LSU against UCLA, and the winner of that game will be firmly entrenched in the driver's seat. And I'm not sure if you've checked, but LSU is an enormous favorite in this ball game, as well they should be, because last week when we sat here, and this isn't unique to me or Muse or anybody, anyone who's watched this team at all throughout the year, the many contributors that we've had on the show, from guys like David DeLucci and Kendall Rogers, it's all been the same thing. You felt good about this LSU team winning the national championship, or being able to win the national championship, because you have the best 1-2 starting pitching punch in the country with Anderson and Ianson. I've given this analogy more times than I care to, because I hate to give them their flowers, but it's the same thing Ole Miss did in 2021 with Dylan DeLucia and Hunter Elliott. They had two dominant starters. They rode those two dudes straight throughout the postseason. And the way this bracket is set up, the way the tournament is set up, is if you stay in the winner's bracket, obviously, your odds of winning the tournament are going to go up dramatically. Hey, don't lose. Well, how do you not lose? Keep throwing dudes out there like Cade Anderson, who goes against statistically the best offense in the SEC, and throws 7 innings of 1-run ball on 3 hits with 7 strikeouts and 2 walks. By the way, for Arkansas, the 1 run was the lowest of the season. The 4 hits tied the lowest output of the season for Arkansas, and they had only 3 runners reach second base in the entire ball game. You want to know how you win against really good teams? That's how you win against really good teams. Cade Anderson would have bounced back from the, by his standards, subpar outing against West Virginia in the Supers.
Yeah, I think that's part of the game, and you don't take those for granted. It's a learning lesson. And to have that experience and to learn from that outing was huge. And Coach Yeski and I kind of went through it and kind of found out what was the plan for next week to be better. And just kind of taking it all in. And it was cool, really cool moment. But just excited to win. That's all that really matters.
Cade Anderson was awesome and has now put you in this position where you get to throw Anthony Ianson out there against UCLA with a shot to go 2-0 and put a tremendous amount of pressure on whoever comes out of that losers bracket to have to beat you twice if you get this game, but we'll get there. Anderson was a giant reason why you were able to beat UCLA. Another was an opportunistic offense. You came up with a 3-run second inning, and you didn't even really have a hard-hit ball in that inning. I mean, you were the beneficiary of some good fortune, walk, hit batsman. You had a drag bunt for a single, and you had Chris Stanfield come up in that spot where you're looking to make their mistakes hurt, and Stanfield, who handles the bat so well, and just tremendous respect for what he is as a selfless offensive player, came through for you there.
Bases loaded, 1 out. The pitch. Launched to left field, coming in, and will drop down for a base hit. They'll send in Hernandez. They'll hold up Curiel, but an RBI single off the bat of Chris Stanfield gives the Tigers a 1-0 lead.
Launched is maybe a bit of an exaggeration, right? I mean, that's maybe a little expressive.
A little bit, but hey, man, it sounded good with the ping of the bat in there.
It's radio,
Bing,
right? It's
launch.
Launch.
Come on now.
Or just kind of like a little flare to shallow it. But that's all you needed, right?
Yep.
It's all you needed. And it's one of the, we talked about Chris Stanfield in the regionals. Similar situation where he just had to get a backside ground ball to get a runner home from third. He pokes it through in supers and pokes it through into right field. Chris Stanfield is a selfless offensive player. He goes to the plate with an approach, knowing what he's trying to do. He's hit 1 home run on the year, and it came in the postseason. He's not a power hitter. He's there to make sure he's getting on base, moving runners, and setting the table as they turn the lineup over, and he's been awesome at it. Gigantic spot there as well as LSU came through with a run there to get things started on Stanfield single. They'd push across a couple of more. And then in the 8th inning, after Milam doubles, they go get Gibbler to face Derek Curiel. I mean, Dave Van Horn talked about it after the game. It was very intentional in that spot, clearly intentional in that spot, to try to get Curiel. And after 2 very, very bad swings where he looked overmatched, Derek Curiel comes up with the RBI single that gives you the insurance run. And after the game, Derek Curiel, in his postgame press conference, talked about that at-bat in the 8th inning that gave LSU the insurance.
Trusting myself with 2 strikes, whether that's taking or swinging. I know with my hand-eye coordination, I could be able to battle at any count. So I'm never defeated in the box, even when I go down 0-2 on some 2 pretty ugly swings, probably my 2 ugliest swings of the year. But just having confidence and just sticking to my approach and knowing that he was going to go back to that pitch, staying on it.
So you were dominant on the mound. You were opportunistic offensively. Let's not forget also that defensively, you came up with big plays in this ballgame. In the 2nd and the 4th, Arkansas had the leadoff hitter on. Walk in the 2nd, single in the 4th. In both instances, Anderson induced a 5-4-3 double play that LSU executed beautifully. It's one of the things that I know I'm starting to talk about it more now, but we haven't talked enough about throughout this season is how good this team has been defensively. They're fielding .981. I mean, that is, MLB is, we always talk, was like that line's like .980. You're going to be about, they're at .981. Arkansas's at .984. They're a great defensive team as well. But you're seeing this LSU team back up their elite pitching with great defense behind them as well. And then you backed up your starting pitching with Chase Shores and Kason Evans, who were incredible. After Anderson gave up a leadoff runner in the 8th, Shores comes in. He uncorks a wild pitch. But then after that, boom, boom, boom. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. See you back in the dugout. And then Evans finished it off after allowing the leadoff single. Got him. Shores only threw 10 pitches. Evans threw 13 pitches. Both guys would be available tonight against UCLA if you need them. It goes to show, again, the importance of winning Game 1. And I'll give a hat tip here to Chris Marler over at LouisianaSports.net. He wrote this before the LSU-Arkansas game last week. There are only 4 teams in this format that have lost Game 1 and won the College World Series. So you're talking about the last one to do it, by the way, was Oregon State in 2018. You were talking about the probability of winning the national championship when you lose Game 1 cratering. Now, It's not saying you have to start 2-0. I mean, we saw LSU lose the second game back in 2023 and go on to win the national championship. They got to the championship series in 17 after losing that second game and advancing through the losers bracket. So it's doable to get there. But again, 4 teams have won the national championship after losing their first game. It's just why it's so imperative to win and stay ahead of the curve there. And that's what LSU was able to do. And now, as you bring it back full circle to why, if you were so confident about LSU going into this thing, it's because of Anderson Ianson. Anderson goes out and outperforms Zach Root, who didn't make it out of the second inning. And all of a sudden now, in a winner's bracket game, when UCLA is going to throw a guy with an ERA in the mid-4s who has fewer than a strikeout per inning pitched, you're going to hand the ball to Anthony Ianson, who's 3rd in the country in strikeouts with an ERA in the 2s. This is why a lot of people looked at LSU and said, that should be the betting favorite. That should be the team favored to win this thing because you've got talent everywhere, but it starts with those 2 guys at the front of your rotation who can keep you in the winner's bracket and get you through the postseason. See if the Tigers can get it done tonight against UCLA. We're going to talk plenty about tonight's ball game as we move throughout the show. As a matter of fact, we're heading up to Omaha here in just a smidge. We'll chat with Will Hellmers, who was there with the Tigers 2 years ago, winning a national championship. Now he's doing a bunch of content for Gordon McKernan, and he's up in Omaha. So I want to get Hellmers' take on Saturday night, advancing the winner's bracket. This game here tonight, UCLA, and just sort of the boots on the ground feel from the College World Series. We'll do that. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Of course, Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Big hat tip to our friends over at Mockler Beverage. Been great supporters of the Tigers for 4 decades now. But if you're going to be watching the Tigers here in Omaha at your home, if you're in Omaha, maybe listening or watching while you're in Omaha, big shout out. Make sure you raise a glass of a nice cold Bud Light and go Tigers. Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, it's after further review, y'all. We're not got a quick break. Come back. Will Hellmers is here on the other side. We will talk to Nick Cup or Cope? Cup?
Cope.
K-O-O-P. Looks like Coop. Cope. He's the voice of UCLA. He'll be here in hour number 2. So we'll get to that. And then Luch will be here with us from Omaha as well in hour 3. So we're heading up. We're heading up to the Midwest plenty throughout the show today. And very heavy LSU baseball as we get ready for the Tigers and the Bruins with a 6 o'clock Central first pitch. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
We are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, where they have the lowest prices and never any contracts. So it's one of the things I want to hammer home. Lowest prices, never any contracts. If one of the reasons maybe you haven't called Goodwood to learn more about testosterone replacement therapy yet, or NAD+, or BPC 157, or any of their ED treatments that I've told you about, many of the different therapies that they have that can help you feel like your younger self, regain that youthful vitality. If one of the reasons is I don't want to get stuck to a long-term contract, what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't work? No worries. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Talk about it all the time, y'all. Funny name, funny logo. I get it. It's about levity for the whole thing to make what's sort of an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of men easier to talk about. Whatever the reason, whatever the push, you want to feel your best, they can help. yourgoodwood.com.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Not really close. Felt good about Kaysen, felt good about the matchups. Just didn't want to get caught behind the 8 ball if we needed him.
Jay Johnson was asked on Sunday during his media availability how close Anthony Einson was to coming in. That's because when Einson met with reporters, he told them that he was hot. He was like ready to come in and just waiting on Jay Johnson to give him the ball. It's the right decision to have the forethought to make sure you don't get stuck in a spot where against Arkansas, you got a 4-1 lead, you're 3 outs away from moving into the winner's bracket. Don't let that thing unravel and get away and get stuck in a pinch. So they had Einson ready to go if they needed him. Einson said to reporters he was hot. He was ready to go. But, man, Kaysen Evans, all he needed was 10 pitches to get through the inning. He was 13. Evans threw 13 pitches. Shores through 10. So 13 to get through the ninth. And, man, they were impressive. Guy who knows what it's like to come out of the pen for Jay Johnson, knows what it's like to win in Omaha is Will Hellmers, who's up there right now doing stuff for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys in Louisiana. Loaded. How are you, dude?
Fantastic. I'm taking a view at Charles Schwab Field in Rocco's. It's in my sight line. I'm ready to roll, man.
I love it, man. Hey, so you've been up there doing content creation for Louisiana Loaded under Gordon's arm there. What's the experience been like? Obviously, you've been there as a fan, as a player. What's the experience been like as a fan?
Totally different, man. And it goes both ways. As a fan, it's awesome. You get to drink, you get to party, you get to be with all the LSU fans and watch people get in fights between LSU, Arkansas, all that fun stuff. But as a player, there's nothing better than competing in that environment, in front of 25,000 people and just, the atmosphere is just so intensified at every level, from pregame to during the game to postgame. You're a real celebrity when you're here as a player, whether you're, riding the pine or you're the starter. And it's just seriously a magical place for a fan. As I'm seeing it now, it's amazing. I get to experience the whole, baseball village and the whole shot thing and all these different bars and LSU, fans are just so welcomed here. It's great both ways. It really is.
Were there things that as a player you were not aware of that you're experiencing now? Like, you're obviously, the whole experience is different, but things that you didn't even know were happening.
Not particularly. We kind of knew what was going on, in 2023. Like, we had some off time. Like, it's a long tournament. It's a 2.5 week, deal that you're up here if you're here the whole time like we were. And so we got to experience a lot of it, like the different shops and stuff. We had off days and got to go to the zoo or whatever, all that fun stuff. But it's just a different deal.
Yeah, man. Give me what has been, outside of the game, the highlight so far for you.
Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough. I really just enjoy, seeing all these LSU fans. Like, it is really, honestly, Alex Box with the North. Like, it is unbelievable. And it was, what was interesting to me is there's realistically probably more Arkansas fans here. LSU fans, take that as a hit to your heart. But LSU just, we, outnumbered, in sound, and in the stadium, it was just like, Arkansas wasn't even there. That was probably the coolest thing to me.
I think you've got such a heavy number of LSU fans there already, but people do it two ways, Will, as I understand, or as I've experienced. Some will go in the first weekend to guarantee that they're going to get to watch their team play 2 games. Some wait and say, okay, if they advance, I'll go. And so I think
that's right.
LSU wins tonight. I think you're going to have a pretty steady stream of purple and gold flowing to Omaha here in the next few days. Will Hellmers is with us, former Tiger pitchers up there in Omaha. I guess we can say covering the College World Series, maybe just from a different angle. What happened with the
something
fight?
Like that?
What happened with the fight, by the way? What was that?
Oh, well, it was actually, I wasn't, so on Friday night. So obviously for Gordon McKernan, we're doing 888 shots every day that the Tigers are in the tournament, and so Gordon sent me up here to do that, and so Friday night, I got here, first night of the tournament, by 888, and then they're letting me pass them out 200 every hour, or actually 200 every 30 minutes, excuse me. And so I did that, all night, and I showed up the next morning to Rocco's at, 11:30 to buy some more, and they kind of told me, like, hey, look, we had to shut down early last night it was mostly LSU fans that were starting fights and just doing really inappropriate things that should not be done in a bar. And so they had to shut down early. So now I'm giving out 150 Jell-O shots every hour so we can kind of spread it out throughout the day instead of a mass of Jell-O every 30 minutes.
Yeah, so go
LSU fans on the right track.
If you're in Omaha, just look for Will Hellmers. He will effectively be permanently affixed to Rocco's, handing out Jell-O shots every hour. I love it, though. That's fantastic. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we saw on Saturday. Obviously, Cade Anderson was awesome. Give me what was your biggest takeaway from Saturday night?
Pitching. I mean, pitching is going to win this thing, especially in this park, right? You know, you're playing in the Grand Canyon, and it's just going to be hard. I don't want to say hard, but it's going to be difficult for an offense to really score runs against a pitcher, you know, like somebody who's pounding the zone and doing all this, you know, doing everything like that, pounding the zone, throwing strikes. It's going to be difficult for an offense to really, really score, especially in this park. And, you know, LSU jumped on route early, had some miscues from the Arkansas side, and look, they took advantage of it, and that's going to be a lot of these games I think you'll see, especially for LSU. I'm hoping the offense can really start, you know, pounding and taking good swings. And look, we struck out 16 times as a team on Saturday night. That's, you know, that can't happen. You know, that's not going to win games, you know, for the most part. And so the offense has got to get moving, got to get back on the right track, and they will. It's just going to, you know, it might take a second.
Will, as a pitcher, what did you see, either how Arkansas attacked LSU or LSU's approach that led to those 16 strikeouts?
I just, you know, it's a strange thing. Look, you know, 16 strikeouts, obviously, like I said, it can't happen. LSU, you know, they were taking bad swings. You're just realistically taking bad swings, pitches out of the zone, you know, pitches on breaking balls out of the zone that even started out of the zone. That's just not a good recipe for taking competitive at bats and you know, trying to get guys on base. And they kind of skewed, it seemed like, from what their normal plan is, you know, we're going to take some pitches, we're going to walk, we're going to get on base, move guys around, and you know, that just wasn't part of the plan. And Arkansas, really, realistically, except for that one inning, did an outstanding job of attacking our hitters, you know, in a way that they wouldn't succeed. And you know, their reliever, that's one of their best guys that they brought in, Gackle, and you know, he did the job. You know, for the most part, it was just that one inning and, you know, that fourth run that we tacked on right at the end screwed him up.
Yeah, man. Well, it was Root, Gackle, Gibbler. I mean, you're facing elite level arms. They're gonna get a lot of good hitters. It's similar when teams go up against Anderson or Ryans. I mean, Arkansas is probably asking the same question: how in the world did you score one run on 4 hits? Well, you saw Cade Anderson, Chase Shores, and Casey Evans. Good luck. I mean, that's just going to be the reality.
Yeah, 3 big leaguers.
So,
Hello.
Sorry, Will. So, how do you offensively? How do you turn that around today against UCLA?
Man, it's a new day. Look, that's the message that I would go into it with. Oh, look, there goes Mardi Gras Mike.
Hey!
Hey, Mardi Gras Mike. Sweet.
That thing's not just
parked.
Fired
Up again.
That thing is like rolling all through town. That's not just parked somewhere?
Oh, my God, all day. He rolled through town all day. He was parked outside the Hilton under the interstate, just blaring, calling Baton Rouge for like 8 hours straight.
God.
Repeat your question. I got off track. You know,
no, you're good. I was saying, how do you turn it around offensively? You were saying, well, it's a new day.
Look, yeah, and that's the message that I would go into with it, that it is a new day. It's a new team. You're going to see new arms, a good arm, you know, a guy that's thrown 70, you know, plus innings and, you know, is under a 5 ERA. It's a good arm, but it's a different team. And LSU needs to kind of go into it like they're a different team today than they were on Saturday, and they will be. And just attacking the ball, you know, and sticking to that plan that has really, you know, worked for them all season of we're going to get guys on base, move them around, and maybe once in a while we'll hit a long ball. And I think just, attacking it like it's a new day with confidence, and, you know, it's confidence from the coaching staff, confidence from the whole team, confidence from each player. in each at bat, that's going to go a long way, especially, they're on top of the world right now. They just, they wanted to beat Arkansas. And so, I hope it doesn't get lost that the rest of these 6 teams here are great teams. They all have a chance to realistically, make it to the championship, that championship series. And I don't want them to lose sight of that. It's just, it's Omaha, baby. Anybody can win. Anybody can compete. They just got to attack it like it's a new day.
Last thing, when you were there 2 years ago, you were in the same position here, 1 game won, now going into the winner's bracket game. What is Jay Johnson telling his team today?
I'd like to think he's saying something different, but he's not. It's just another game for them. They've executed well all season long and performed at some of the highest levels, and this is going to be nothing different for them. They've done this before. They've played teams like this before. They have a great advantage with, honestly, Ianson on the mound, growing up on that side of the country. I think that's a great advantage, as well as Jay. Jay coached over there for a long time. It's a different style of ball. They're going to play it like they've played it all season and just attack guys, get them out and take good swings and get guys on base and watch it happen.
Make sure you're following Louisiana Loaded on social media, Instagram. Hey, can I make a request that you put the videos on Twitter as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm on it.
So Instagram, thank you. Instagram,
Twitter,
and Twitter.
TikTok.
And TikTok, yeah. So whenever we, because when we pull them up here, it's very hard to pull up Instagram here in studio. I was going to show some of the videos, but because of formatting. But anyway, yeah, Twitter would be awesome too if you'd put them up there. So follow at Louisiana Loaded, spell it out. Of course, they're courtesy of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888 Jell-O shots at Rocco's for every day that LSU's in the tournament. Just set a new record there.
That's right. Why not?
Enjoy the day. Go Tigers. Let's get another one, man. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Let's do it. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, bro. That's Will Hellmers, 2023 national champion with the LSU Tigers, up there with working with Gordon McKernan doing content creation now. So Will is, I didn't realize that. So Will is that's his role up there. He's the one who's distributing the 888 Jell-O shots every day over at Rocco's. So we've gotten to the bottom of what's going on there. We're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, title sponsor of our Monday shows all throughout the years. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. We're not going to break. We will go around the SEC when we come back. There's a little bit of football we're going to sprinkle in. The Saints did sign Cam Akers over the weekend, and there's some recruiting tidbits with two 5-star prospects that LSU fans will certainly be interested in hearing about, with Lamar Brown and Tristan Keys. We'll get to that here in about 45 minutes from right now. We got a ton to do. A jam-packed Monday show presented by Relief Windows as the Tigers are staring down a date with UCLA about 2.5 hours from first pitch, and we're counting you down right to it here on AFR.
After further review.
Speaking of proud partners of LSU Athletics, how about Action Industries? Been right there, arm in arm with the LSU baseball team all throughout this season. We've been telling you, of course, for every LSU baseball game throughout the year, every mound visit presented by Action Industries. So this is a local company that's been local for 43 years, loves the Tigers, arm in arm, hand in hand, lockstep, supporting the Tigers, and, of course, LSU Athletics and Action Industries wishes LSU, Jay Johnson, and the whole baseball squad the best of luck as they move throughout this College World Series, including tonight's game against UCLA. And, of course, if you work in the petrochemical refinery markets, you probably have heard of Action Industries. You may know what they do, but when it comes time to hire industrial contractors, remember, they're local and they know who they are. They offer specialty welding services, 24-hour support when it comes to their turnaround group. Make sure you check them out over at Action Industries.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm, Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Your Fighting Tigers of LSU are back at the College World Series, and we've got all eyes on Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake. Our coverage is anchored by Hunt Palmer and is also presented by GoFlow IV Spa and Yingling Flight. Watch each broadcast live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Go Tigers from Our Lady of the Lake, GoFlow IV Spa, Yingling Flight, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We do appreciate all our sponsors for allowing us to have that presence there in Omaha. Hunt's doing an awesome job. You can get his full pregame advance over at LouisianaSports.net. Always free, everything over at LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no freemium, always everything free at LouisianaSports.net. Again, right there on the homepage, you get the full advanced gamer there for from Hunt Palmer over at LouisianaSports.net. Again, we certainly encourage you to go read the site, to bookmark it, to tell a friend. It's there. We want to be your home for Louisiana sports. We like to say our fingers on the pulse. If it's something that you care about, we're going to be writing about it totally free over at LouisianaSports.net. So no article limits, all the things that annoy you when you're trying to read content. We try to eliminate all those over at LouisianaSports.net. So bookmark it and let a friend know that LouisianaSports.net is there. And Hunt's up in Omaha covering the College World Series for us here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and LouisianaSports.net. So we appreciate all of you for the support. We'll go around the SEC here in just a quick second. Greg Sankey over the weekend did lobby for keeping he was on Golick and Golick, the new podcast with Mike Golick, Sr. and Jr., and he lobbied for keeping a committee instead of going to computers in the new, very likely expanded version of the college football playoff. He said, my thought is there's like always a pendulum swinging. You heard plenty last year, maybe the year before, about how we shouldn't have a committee. But if you return to 2008, 9, 10, 11, he mentions 11 with LSU and Alabama, there was plenty of opinion and commentary on there shouldn't have a computer decide this because there was the non-human factor. So I think there's a balance of this age of analytics. There's a way for the data to be improved, in my opinion. I think there was a human factor involved. So My feeling on this has been pretty consistent. You know this. I have long lambasted the group of self-important dorks in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas, debating things like game control and defensive efficiency metrics to determine who's going to play for a championship. You eliminate some of those factors when you have an expanded field. I personally think the BCS formula was really good. The problem in the BCS wasn't the BCS formula. The problem was you only had two teams. So in the event that you had years where 2004 you had an undefeated Auburn, 2003 there was the debate about LSU, Oklahoma, USC, who should be in there. That's more the conversation where you have teams that have a valid argument for being in the field. And I can go to just 2 years ago, the last year, the 4-team playoff, where you have undefeated Georgia, who's the defending national champion, a two-time defending national champion. They're undefeated, and they have to go play the SEC championship game where they lose. Now, all of a sudden, boom, they're out of the 4-team playoff. It's nonsensical. Like, Georgia was the best team in college football all throughout the season that year, and they don't get in because they lost a stupid, a meaningless conference champion, an extra game that's nothing but a money grab by the league. It's stupid. It makes no sense. So I do believe that we should have the impartial component of an algorithm that people can agree on, that can spit out the number in the field. It's no different than if you have a power ranking system, like in the LHSAA playoffs, have a power ranking system that seeds the field. I mean, that's not a bad idea to eliminate human bias, which absolutely exists everywhere. So if you give me the option of having inherently biased humans putting together a bracket or an agreed upon system, that's the imperative part here. the agreed upon system where everybody going in knows this is the formula that you're relying on, like the net ranking in basketball or RPI in college baseball, whatever, you know what it is going in. Like if you play in a crap league, you better load up your non-conference so you don't get crushed by the strength of schedule metric. I mean, those are the types of things it would do. And what you would avoid is Indiana making the playoff because they're 11-1 playing an absolutely hot garbage schedule. So, yeah, I think there should be an objective metric component to it. I mean, if you just gave me the BCS formula and a 16-team field, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Wouldn't have to listen to Honey Boo Boo, or what's the guy's name that was talking to the thing last year?
Last year? It was Ward Manuel last year. Yeah.
New Orleans guy, right? That's what we talking about. Brother Martin, shout out. I think I remember somebody telling me that. And then went to Michigan. Or is it Michigan AD?
He's the Michigan AD, correct.
Congrats.
Yes.
That's exactly what we need. I need somebody up there just giving me lip service about all the stupid stuff that they decided in a room that they don't have to answer to because the next week they'll just change it and there's no accountability whatsoever. Stupid. Get rid of all that. All right, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC in just a second. We are brought to you by Evermore. Y'all, it's hot outside. 84 degrees right now. Did have some rain earlier. Apparently it's been raining all weekend. I was in Boston. And then Maine, where, by the way, yesterday when I woke up in Maine, it was 39 degrees. How about that, Muse? 39 degrees on the Atlantic Ocean yesterday.
Hard pass.
How about that?
I mean,
gorgeous during the day. To wake up on June the 14th or June the 15th at 39 degrees. Not really my cup of tea, but gorgeous up there. I mean, it's gorgeous. Anyway, check out Bar Harbor, Maine, if you've never been. Really fantastic. But anyway, stay hydrated with Evermore. EVA MOR. It's a Louisiana product. Natural artesian water. A healthier option for you, for your family. Better form of hydration for the kiddos. Get it at great retailers. You can buy it online. EVA MOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. You can find the retailer nearest you that offers Evermore. And if the retailer you shop at doesn't, tell them, hey, why don't y'all carry this? They need to. It's Evermore. EVA MOR. Drink Evermore. All right, y'all, after further review, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky's got its new tight ends coach. It's Derek Shea. He has been the Wildcats' senior offensive analyst and run game specialist for the last year and a half. And he replaces Blanken, who's the guy that left last week. Been there forever.
Vince
Morrow,
yes,
who left last week. Yeah, Morrow had been there for as long as Mark Stoops had been in Lexington. All right, so they got a new guy.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas got its 21st commitment for the 2026 class Sunday when safety Kaveh Foster out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, committed 6'4", 185. Picked Arkansas over Troy in South Alabama. Real heavyweight fight there that Sam Pittman just won. 3-star prospect. What? I mean, congrats, dog. You beat out Troy in South Alabama for a 3-star safety. I'm sure that's really going to get you over the hump.
We were all thinking it.
The Florida Gators.
That's the difference. Everybody thinks that I'm the only one with the balls to say it on air. Florida, not you, Muse. I'm just saying in general speaking. Florida lands commitment from 2026 star offensive tackle Tyler Chukuyum. 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 I'm going Chukuyum. That's where I'm going. Chukuyum. Tyler Chukuyum. There it is. I workshopped it. Country of origin, please. Tyler Chukuyum. Final answer. 6'6", 290 offensive lineman. Picked the Gators over Ole Miss, Cincinnati, and Florida State.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
OU landed a 2026 running back, DeZephan Walker. He's out of Missouri, 11th member of OU's class. He's the number 370 overall recruit in the country. He is a top 25 running back in the nation.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss added baseball, added a left-handed pitcher via the transfer portal. It's Missouri transfer Will Liebert, who committed to the Rebs. He was awesome this year for Missouri, who stunk. He had an ERA of 6 in 14 appearances. It's all by context, Muse. When you pitch for Mizzou and you got an ERA of 6, you're awesome for Mizzou.
Yeah.
That's the point I was making. He was awesome for Mizzou.
That was probably one of their lower ERAs, actually.
Tennessee, Auburn, and South Carolina were recruiting him. I mean, awesome for Mizzou.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Dylan Loy has entered the transfer portal. He's a left-handed pitcher. Just wrapped up his sophomore season there for the Vols. Was 4-0 this year with a 3.97 ERA.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Bama hired an Ohio State executive, Dr. Peter Moeller, as the new president of the University of Alabama. Among his first orders of business is to rededicate Bryant-Dennehy Stadium, as I understand it. I don't know if you heard, Muse, but it was a big pile of rubble, and so they had to rebuild the whole thing.
What happened to it?
Oh, they're burning.
Oh,
it burned.
It burned. Okay.
Big pile of rubble. Yeah, not sure if you heard. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. It's hour number 1 of a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, they do shutters as well, ReliefWindows.com. In 15 minutes, I want to talk specifically about Anthony Ianson against UCLA. Ianson, his relationship with UCLA, and Ianson, how he matches up against this UCLA offense. Again, we'll get to that in 15 minutes from right now. Quick break, come back. Saints added a running back over the weekend. Give you some thoughts when we return on AFR.
AFR.
If you are thinking about selling your home, you better call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Remember, when you call Darren James, you're calling the realtor who literally sells more homes than any other realtor in the state of Louisiana. He's on the Wall Street Journal as the top 1% of realtors in America, and it's because Darren outworks everyone. He's got the best programs and systems and processes and people in place to sell your home faster and for more money. This one just on the market, a gorgeous, beautiful little home, quaint on a lake. Look at the beautiful redone interior, Greenwell Springs. You can go fall in love. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, timeless charm, 2,000 square feet. Oh, that's a gorgeous looking home. You can check it out right now at agent225.com. Agent225.com. Call Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this: everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Well, this just happened in Omaha.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss! Greatness from Gage! A no-hitter!
Gage Wood from Arkansas just threw the 3rd no-hitter in College World Series history, keeping Arkansas's season alive. He struck out 19 Murray State hitters. I just looked this up to see if that was a record. Apparently, the record is Steve Arlen from Ohio State against Washington State back in 1965. That was in a 15-inning game. I have no idea if Steve Arlen pitched all 15 innings, but it was an extra inning game, and he struck out 15. Of course, just a couple of years ago, Ty Floyd struck out 17, which matched Ed Bain from Arizona State, who struck out 17 against Oklahoma in 1972. So one strikeout shy of tying the College World Series record, and this is just the third no-hitter ever at the College World Series, and the first, according to Jeff Passan, since 1960, when your team had to, you want to talk about must win? That's why I don't like when people say must win, unless if it's a literal. I don't like to say must win unless it's a literal must win, like you must win or your season is over. This was a literal must win for Arkansas, where if you did not win this game, your otherwise fantastic season was over. And Gage Wood took the ball and went through a complete game, no-hitter. Arkansas wins 3-0. Is worth noting that, again, I didn't get to watch this game. I mean, I was preparing for the show. It's on, kind of casually watching. But Arkansas only scored 3 runs in this game. That's 2 games in the College World Series. I don't mean to overshadow what Gage Wood did. That is magnificent. I mean, first no-hitter at the College World Series since 1960. That's 65 years. #math. That's amazing. And we're going to talk about that for a long, long, long time, especially in this era where they've lowered the seams on the baseball. They've livened up the bats again. So it is a more offensive game again in the College World Series. Now, that is a massive ballpark that at certain times plays very big as well. But even still, Murray State was one of the best offensive teams in this field, and Gage Wood just went no-hit him when his team's season was on the line. So hat tip, amazing. There's 2 parts of this. Number one is, obviously, in throwing that no-hitter, he preserved the bullpen. So Arkansas didn't have to use any other arms. Now they'll play on Tuesday against the loser of tonight's game with LSU and UCLA. Again, another elimination game. So we'll see what Dave Van Horn does and how he puts the rest of the week together for as long as Arkansas is in there. But something else to consider here is that Zach Root only threw 38 pitches against LSU. So in throwing only 38 pitches, I would assume, and I could be dead wrong here, but I would assume that Dave Van Horn, and I don't know what Dave Van Horn's thinking, but if my season's on the line again tomorrow, and if Zach Root's available after only throwing 38 pitches against LSU on Saturday, and you gave him Sunday, Monday off, and now you've got Tuesday with an opportunity to keep your season alive, I'm probably giving the ball to Zach Root tomorrow with a chance to extend into that, hopefully, Wednesday, Thursday opportunity against whoever, comes out of the winner's bracket game. So a massive performance by Gage Wood, which just gave his team a gigantic shot in the arm by preserving literally, now he threw 119 pitches. So, he's done presumably until the weekend. If they get to a championship series, maybe you could see him there. Or maybe you could see him for like a batter, an inning type thing if you get to Thursday with 2 days off. Kind of like as a bullpen day where if you needed him out of the bullpen, you could use him for an inning, for a batter, 10 pitches maybe. You'd hope it wouldn't come to that if you're Arkansas. If you're LSU, you really hope it don't come to that at all. But a significant event there at the College World Series for a number of different reasons. Gage Wood, a complete game, no-hitter for Arkansas. As a matter of fact, he was just a hit batsman in the 8th away from a perfect game. The only batter that reached base was he hit a guy on the foot in the 8th inning. Other than that, nobody reached base for Murray State. Incredible outing by Gage Wood. Okay, we're wrapping up hour number 1. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Father's Day is in the rearview mirror. Maybe as we're moving into the summer, we're thinking about engagement. Maybe if you're engaged, the wedding's coming up. You need your wedding band. You can get that at Lee Michaels. Remember, if you want to thrill her with a gorgeous diamond, a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry is perfect for any occasion. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, Sports Center staring you straight in the face, and we're heading back to Omaha. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. I tell you about South Point every single day, and I've been able to do that for almost 15 years now. And I love telling you about South Point for so many reasons. The Volkswagen culture is one of having fun. You've seen that in their commercials over the years, all the way back to, the Volkswagen Beetle, the punch buggy van, or pinch buggy, whichever you presume or prefer. Even when you walk into the showroom at South Point Volkswagen, when you walk in, they have an old Volkswagen bus that they've converted into a photo booth. So much of the Volkswagen culture is just about having fun. But they're serious about their vehicles. The great German engineering, all the great safety features, the high performance without the cost, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody. Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.